that the Manhattan DA's office has asked for a meeting with law enforcement ahead of a potential Trump indictment. This is coming to Fox News from a source in the courts. The meeting, which was requested yesterday and has not been set yet, is to discuss logistics for sometime next week, which would mean that they are anticipating an indictment next week. The same source who's familiar with the planning said they will go over security preparations in and around the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Secret Service will take the lead in what they will allow or will not allow. The source cautioned, mentioning, for instance, that the decision to handcuff the president, a former president, or not, they will set the tone and will escort him into the courtroom. There will be coordination between all of us, the source said, but we will defer to the Secret Service. The battle will be between Secret Service and DA Alvin Bragg. They will decide how and when he'll get into the building, and they are not going to leave him. The source believes that the former president will still have to be fingerprinted and processed like every other defendant. So this is a huge development if Alvin Bragg has decided to go ahead with a felony indictment of the former president. This was a charge that the federal officials refused to prosecute on or even really pursue. This was a misdemeanor in New York that Alvin Bragg has decided to elevate to a felony, while at the same time downgrading other felonies to misdemeanors. So we'll be watching this to see how it all unfolds and get more information as it comes in. Sandra?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Saturday, or unhappy Saturday if you wish to be living inside of a constitutional republic with rules and not a banana republic where they arrest the people that they think could pose political threats to them. And who are the they? Well, a Soros prosecutor named Alvin Bragg this morning is announcing that he plans on arresting President Trump for a misdemeanor, a campaign finance nodule, as it pertains to a payment to Stormy Daniels. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a developing story, but the reason we are going live this morning is not because this is some type of fever dream. They finally got Trump, the walls are closing in, but Donald Trump himself saying that this is something that's going to happen according to his lawyers and according to the Secret Service and according to the people who know the plans for what is going on right now. Donald Trump will on Tuesday be arrested, and again, this is according to Donald Trump, be arrested in New York. Now, what does that mean? That just means that charges are filed. You got to get fingerprinted. You got to get brought in, and you have to essentially get Mirandized and told what charges are being brought against you inside of a New York grand jury for Donald Trump behaving badly? Question mark? As it pertains to a hush payment that they say violates campaign finance campaign finance laws, okay? Let's read, ladies and gentlemen. The Manhattan DA office asked for a meeting with law enforcement ahead of possible Trump indictment. The court said they are anticipating an indictment next week. This from Fox News, published this morning. Manhattan District Attorney Office has asked for a meeting with law enforcement ahead of a possible indictment. According to the source, the meeting requested Thursday has not been set. The meeting is to discuss logistics for anticipating an indictment. Now, of course, Donald Trump has Secret Service protection. We have met with Donald Trump post-presidency. We have talked with him. We know what kind of protective service he has. Donald Trump is surrounded at all times by a logistical army of agents and automatic weapons and super stacked Secret Service individuals. You can't just go in and arrest Donald Trump. That's not how this works. And this is the first time in American history, and we are talking hypothetically, we don't know if this is going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, on this show, we're going to break down exactly what may happen and what people are saying about it right now and give you all the up-to-date news. We don't know if it's going to happen, but Donald Trump is saying it will. And so we shall see. Trump spokesperson Stephen Chung reacted to the news by ripping District Attorney Alvin Bragg, a Soros-funded district attorney, a complete moron, who is a craven lunatic who is overseen essentially turning New York City, one of the greatest cities in the world, into a proverbial slaughterhouse with skyrocketing murder rates and crime rates and drug rates, with skyrocketing theft and battery and all types of horrible video. We can't even show you the videos from New York on the show. We'll get our channels ripped down if we were to play you the videos of what New Yorkers are doing to each other under this district attorney. But this guy is going hard in on Donald Trump, making up charges. Again, raising misdemeanors to felony level so that they can get the arrest photo of Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all shown. It's going to have massive consequences. We're going to get into them. First, let's read the news. They call it a witch hunt and accused him of being in the pocket of President Biden and radical Democrats. President Donald J. Trump is completely innocent. He did nothing wrong. And even the biggest, most radical left Democrats are making that clear, Chung said. From Russia to the Mueller hoax to the impeachment hoax, 1, 2, and 3, unlawful Mar-a-Lago raid. Democrats have investigated and attacked President Trump since and before. And he was elected and they failed every single time. This is Alvin Bragg right here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, people are saying this is the end of our republic if they go through with this. This has never happened in American history that a sitting or former president has ever been indicted for anything. Not Bill Clinton, not some of the scummiest, worst individuals that have ever existed, like LBJ, not people who clearly and openly broke the law, like Woodrow Wilson, or FDR, and people who literally behaved in illegal manners. None of these people were even impeached, much less indicted. Donald Trump would be, if this goes through, the first indicted president, former president of the United States and current political candidate. Everyone knows this is a sham. In fact, the Justice Department stocked the DA's office with top people from D.C. to help get Trump at a local level. The radical left Democrats are turning our justice system into an injustice system. Ladies and gentlemen, this indictment stems from a years-long investigation surrounding Trump's alleged hush money to Stormy Daniels. Towards the end of 2016, the presidential campaign, Michael Cohen sent $130,000 to Daniels to prevent her from disclosing an affair with Trump, an alleged affair with Trump. Donald Trump denies it. Trump reimbursed Cohen through installments. The Manhattan District Attorney declined to comment. So what they're saying here is that this money is a violation of campaign finance reform and some type of like small, minute addendum on some small law somewhere that the federal government and the feds, the FBI and the DOJ have refused to even touch this. They say this is poppycock. This is absurd, ladies and gentlemen. So what are people saying right now about this? Well, Donald Trump has released his own videos. People are getting furious about this online. We are going to break down exactly why they are doing this at this very moment and how stupid this is. Let's begin with Dan Bongino on Fox just moments ago.
Gift of failure. Dan, I would imagine you've got something to say on this.
Yeah, listen, the police state's here, guys. That's inarguable to, the libs listening. You can, again, plant a big wet one on my rump because I really have no desire to hear you right now as you're celebrating, again, the collapse of the constitutional republic. The police state's here. It's not as if Donald Trump's, sons were caught on tape talking to their dad about illicit business deals or anything with foreign communist parties and nuclear-powered enemies of the United States, shuttling millions of dollars to the Trump family. Oh, that's right. That's right. That's the Biden family. Oh, God, sorry, guys. I forgot. As a commentator, I should be really up on the news and stuff. But the police state and this abomination is here right now. This is third world BS. That's exactly what this is. This is the kind of story you're used to reading out of North Korea, but it's here in the United States right now. And the fact that media people and the liberals will say.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and check out what Donald Trump is saying. That's Dan Bongino's clip from earlier this morning on Fox. Donald Trump on Truth Social this morning. This is what President Donald Trump says about this. Illegal leaks from corrupt and highly political Manhattan District Attorney's Office, which has allowed new records to be set in violent crime. Leaders are funded by George Soros, indicate that with no crime being able to be proven, based on an old and fully debunked numerous other prosecutors' fairy tale, far and away leading Republican candidate, former president of the United States of America, will be arrested on Tuesday of next week. That's what Donald Trump is saying. Donald Trump is the one, this is the only reason we're going with this morning, is Donald Trump is the one saying he will be arrested. Now, people are chiming in here, and this is unbelievable. Like, wait till you hear what the reaction is. And I'll give you my initial reaction right now, is that they are all but going to guarantee Donald Trump's election. 3 things will happen when they put Donald Trump in handcuffs, if they are able to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, 1, you will guarantee his reelection. This is what Viva Fry says. If this happens, it will be the beginning of Trump's reelection. And if this happens, he is joined with the most powerful man in the world, Elon Musk. Elon Musk, inarguably the most powerful, richest man in the world, saying this will be Trump's re-election landslide victory. Elon Musk saying Trump will be re-elected in a landslide. Elon Musk says Trump landslide victory if indicted. Former President Trump will ultimately end up back in the White House if he is indicted by Manhattan prosecutors, Elon Musk says. Musk's tweet comes as Trump declared that illegal leaks from the Manhattan District Attorney that he will be arrested. Again, we're taking this seriously because, again, in order to arrest Trump, like, could you imagine? You cannot arrest Trump. If you tried to even come within a mile of Donald Trump, there's a Secret Service officer there, like, to take care of you, okay? And you're unwanted. You can't just go arrest Donald Trump. So they've been working on this for years. Everything else has failed, and now they're bringing this. A addendum to a small nodule in some old dusty law about campaign finance that the feds won't even prosecute. The comment on Twitter from the Twitter boss and the richest man in the world came in response to a Fox News segment detailing Trump could be potentially cuffed and fingerprinted and processed and escorted into the courtroom. Prepare yourselves. That may happen on Tuesday. And this is not some leftist wet dream, fever dream. This is Donald Trump saying it may happen. Law enforcement and Secret Service were discussing logistics and security preparation for how this might happen. So Elon Musk, of course, brought back Donald Trump onto Twitter. Elon Musk has stated that he's not necessarily MAGA, but that he is for free speech and that he's very against Biden and the communists running the country right now. Donald Trump was one of the first people that Elon Musk brought back. If this happens, Trump will be reelected in a landslide victory. If Alvin Bragg goes ahead and arrests Donald Trump, not only will this be the turning point and turn Trump into a martyr, it will also set a terrible precedent and solidify America as a banana republic. Correct. That's the second thing that is guaranteed to happen here, ladies and gentlemen. The second thing that is guaranteed to happen is that now all faith will be collapsed in the system. The system will be over. All faith is gone now, forever, inside of the system. Ladies and gentlemen, people will know that everything is fraudulent and that the world is set dead against them. That we do not live inside of a democracy. We live inside of a kleptocracy, an oligarchy run by evil people who can get away with literal murder, if you're talking about the Clintons, or get away with something that is not even in the same universe of corruption. Joe Biden. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden's corruption is so egregious that CNN ran multiple segments yesterday on Joe Biden getting multi-millions from the Communist Party of China. Now, if that doesn't sound like an impeachable offense, I don't know what is. Not only that, they money laundered the money through the Biden family. That is illegal on so many different levels. As somebody who's a small business owner myself and understands how the tax system works in this country, the Bidens have behaved in such a corrupt and illegal manner here. It is bewildering how the entire family is not in handcuffs. Even CNN says so.
Memo, Republicans in the House Oversight Committee say 3 Biden family members in 2017 received over $1 million indirectly from a Shanghai-based company, State Energy HK Limited. The money came after Biden associate John Robinson Walker received a $3 million wire from the same company, a transaction that was first publicized by Senate Republicans in 2020. Walker then transferred a third of those funds to various Biden family bank accounts over a 3-month period. The new information uncovered by the House GOP, $35,000 in payments to Hallie Biden, Beau Biden's widow, $25,000 of which was linked to the Chinese energy company. Republicans also targeting the president's brother James and his son Hunter, and also say they are probing an account linked to an unknown Biden. The memo did not reveal any illegal action by the Biden family members, and the president has long maintained he had no involvement in any of these dealings.
I have never discussed with my son or my brother or anyone else anything having to do with their businesses, period.
Lies, 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 lies. What has Donald Trump said about this, ladies and gentlemen? Donald Trump releasing a video, knowing that this indictment is coming, talking about how this is him standing between you and the people who wish to destroy your nation. Donald Trump saying, and this is a very, very famous meme, they're not after me, they're after you. They wish to do this to all of you. And if they can do it to Donald Trump, they can do it to the rest of us. This is the third thing that I think will collapse the system here, is that who the hell would ever stay inside of a blue state again? They are going to bring in a president of the United States for a Class C misdemeanor. Literally a traffic ticket. They're going to try and arrest him and put him in prison for a traffic ticket. Something that the feds, who are run by raving lunatics under Joe Biden, won't even prosecute. But Alvin Bragg and the Soros-funded DAs in New York are going to come after one of New York's richest and most powerful and most iconic men. Donald Trump is an iconoclast in New York City, and they're going to come after him. Will anyone ever remain in a blue state? Will you ever live in a blue state again? No one. People will flee. You will collapse the system, and Donald Trump is saying so.
These four horrible, radical left Democrat investigations of your all-time favorite president, me, is just a continuation of the most disgusting witch hunt in the history of our country. It's gone on forever with Russia, 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 and Ukraine, 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 and the Mueller hoax. It's an absolute disgrace what's going on. They even spied on my campaign. And remember this, with all of the work that they did on Mueller, no collusion. That's what the answer was all no collusion. Whether it's the Mar-a-Lago raid or the Unselect Committee hoax, the perfect Georgia phone call, it was absolutely perfect, or the Stormy Horseface Daniels extortion plot, they're all sick, and it's fake news. Our enemies are desperate to stop us because they know that we are the only ones who can stop them, and they know it very strongly. And they're looking at the polls where, not me, but we are up by so much. They can't even believe it. We won twice, and now we've got to win a third time. They know that we can defeat them. They know that we will defeat them. But they're not coming after me. They're coming after you. I'm just standing in their way, and I always will stand in their way. Thank you very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is sort of echoing what a lot of commentators are saying online. Dan Bongino, dear libs, I don't like you, you don't like me. So let's cut to the chase here. I write this to tell you with sincerity, if you think indictments or arrest of Trump is going to weaken him and his allies, then you've again grotesquely misread the room. Don't say I did not warn you, is what Dan Bongino is saying. Now, Dan Bongino, obviously from the political commentator perspective, what is one of the most powerful men in the world right now saying? Kevin McCarthy, the most powerful, arguably, Republican currently in office. Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, just posted this a few minutes ago on Truth Social. Here we go again. Outrageous abuse of power by a radical DA. Let violent criminals walk as he pursues political vengeance against President Trump. I am directing relevant committees to immediately investigate that federal funds are being used to subvert our democracy, interfering with elections, politically motivated prosecutions. Chip Roy, one of our favorite members of Congress. The impending indictment of President Trump in New York must be treated as it is. A politically motivated persecution based on strained, convoluted legal theory. It makes clear the danger of politicized justice system that will be and is being weaponized against all Americans. They are going after a man because they know that he will most likely win, ladies and gentlemen, against Joe Biden, and they are trying to take him down now. This is political interference at its finest. And Kevin McCarthy making a lot of news there that he's going to be directing the House and its subpoena power to go after the district attorneys and see if there are federal funds being used to go after Donald Trump. Because Kevin McCarthy, of course, is in charge. The way that federalism works is, of course, Kevin McCarthy would have oversight of all federal funds. It is up to, in Article 1, the House maintains the power for all spending. All spending goes through the House. And so Kevin McCarthy is literally in charge. If there is a single dollar from the federal government being used to do this, Kevin McCarthy can obviously ruin these people's career. I mean, he can stop it, and then he can destroy them. Ladies and gentlemen, refer for prosecution. So they best tread lightly here. Marjorie Taylor Greene. If the Manhattan DA indicts President Trump, he will win even bigger than he's already going to win. Those Republicans that stand by and cheer for his persecution or do nothing to stop it will be exposed. and will be remembered, scorned, and punished. President Trump did nothing wrong and has always fought for the American people. We know it. That's why we love him. Any Republican who thinks that Democrats will stop this madness once Trump is out of the way are fooling themselves. Weaponized government and political persecution are the new chapters in their playbook, and they will use those methods against anyone who stands in their way. And we are absolutely fed up with the two-tiered system of justice and injustice in America. The base has had enough. Republicans that won't stand up for the people and against Democrats in the war on Trump, his administration, his supporters, his traditional values. You know, she's dead on here. Check out the latest polls here. This from Florida. This from the Emerson poll. Donald Trump winning in Florida. Donald Trump, of course, commanding double-digit leads across various states and in general for the Republican Party. We say it a lot. This is a caucus and primary system. Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, very important states. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Donald Trump winning inside of Florida against his would-be opponent in the Republican primary, hypothetically, Ron DeSantis, who hasn't announced yet. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is Donald Trump's lawyer, former lawyer, Jenna Ellis, talking about what this indictment will mean. Here's what you need to know about the possible Trump indictment. The goal isn't political fallout. This isn't going to exit the race or nor is he constitutionally required to, right? So the fever dream of the left is, oh, we got Trump. You can't run if you're indicted. You can't run for president. That is bad legal theory, of course. That is, of course, wrong. The goal is to keep him from being able to raise enough money for a serious campaign. Same thing they wanted to do with Mueller and the Russia hoax, drain the war chest. But he had the advantage then of being an incumbent, so the RNC was mostly helpful. The 2020 campaign still spent over $1 billion. The question is whether donors will stand by him or look for the alternative. All of this should matter because whether or not you support Trump, tactics like this should not influence the ability to choose a candidate. They are trying to choose the candidate for you. That's what's going on here. This is banana republic stuff. This is stuff that does not happen inside of our country. It should happen. It happens in the third world. Our State Department, if this were happening in Bahrain, our State Department would issue a scathing letter about it. They're doing it here in order to kneecap Donald Trump, in order to destroy you. You are the target. I am the target. We are the target. Trump stands as an emissary for us. He stands as someone who represents, by and large, our values or our perspective on America. Trump is a vessel, and they're going after that vessel, which means they're going after us. That's what this is about. Choosing who can run for president. Because if you can choose who can run for president, then you can determine who's president a lot easier. Donald Trump was a wild card in 2016. They couldn't believe that he won the nomination, and then they couldn't believe that he won. And he broke them for all time. Ladies and gentlemen. Broke them for all time. And now they're terrified of Donald Trump because Donald Trump's getting all of his social media back. And they're worried with the way that Joe Biden is not behaving, meaning Joe Biden not alive, meat puppet Biden. They're like worried that, oh my God, like we cannot keep up this charade any longer. The fraudulence is collapsing in on us. And Republicans are doing a great job investigating the Bidens. The Democrats don't care about protecting our institutions or system. They want to get Trump. I hope they utterly miserably fail. Democrats are supposed to be concerned about protecting democracy. Then let the people decide, says Jen Ellis, Donald Trump's former lawyer. Sean Davis, one of our favorite commentators, says this is utter madness. On no planet is a private legal settlement a felony campaign finance violation. The rule of law is dead in this country. Meanwhile, Republicans in Washington are laser focused on funneling more money to Ukraine because of course they are. Ladies and gentlemen, Republicans in Washington should be laser focused on a singular thing, protecting our ability to elect who we choose and not having feds or foreign billionaires like George Soros interfering in our process. Let the man run. This is what Donald Trump was saying just a few weeks ago in his CPAC speech.
No choice. If we don't do this, our country will be lost forever. People are tired of rhinos and globalists. They want to see America first. That's what they want. It's not too complicated. This is the final battle. They know it. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows it. This is it. Either they win or we win. And if they win, we no longer have a country. And I promise you this, if you put me back in the White House, that beautiful building, but I live in very beautiful buildings, it's not that reason. Beautiful. That building wasn't the easiest building to live in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is back on Facebook. Again, this is Donald Trump on Facebook. Donald Trump has many millions of followers. Let's go ahead and check this page. 34 million followers on Facebook. If you were watching this on Facebook, hello. If you were watching this on Rumble, hello. We love all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump has posted for the first time on a non-Truth Social account. He posted this yesterday. This video was his first video back on Facebook. He says, I'm back. This is terrifying, of course, the establishment. Donald Trump used social media more effectively than any candidate in American history. This was the video that Donald Trump posted.
You keep you waiting, complicated business. Complicated.
Sorry to keep you waiting, complicated business. This is terrifying the establishment in the Republican Party and in the Democrat Party. Now, who is part of that establishment? Well, it used to be Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich is a strong Trump ally. Newt Gingrich is a scholar and a very smart man, was the Speaker of the House, and a good one at that. Arresting President Trump over a 2016 event, which is dubious legally, is another sign of the left's insanity. To arrest a former and future president is an act of hatred. Future president there. Good. Way to go, Newt. Is an act of hatred and a poison that will further harden the support for Trump while discrediting the left. Remember Hunter Biden, is what Newt Gingrich says. What does Newt think about Hunter Biden? Why would he say that? What does Newt know that we don't know? Check this out from CNN last night. Newt, of course, lives in Washington, is the ultimate Washington, D.C. insider. What is he talking about Hunter Biden? Are they doing this to distract you? Of course they are. This is a distraction from the collapsing currency, the collapsing banks, the collapsing stock market, the collapsing securities, the collapsing border, our collapsing security inside of this nation, the collapsing world order, the collapsing petrodollar, the collapsing war in Ukraine. That's what this is all a distraction for. Because all next week it'll be Trump, 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 Trump. And you won't hear another thing about banks collapsing because our federal government under Joe Biden is like being managed by the people inside of the mental institution or the most corrupt people in American history, as is determined here in a CNN piece. We cannot emphasize this enough. This is why they are paranoid. This is why they are panicked. This is why they are doing this. Because CNN is running pieces like this.
There's a fixation on the Biden family by many Republican leaders, and I think there are other issues that are more relevant and important in the lives of ordinary Americans.
Certain level of, just as a layperson, you hear this, and it doesn't sound good. There's a guy whose name is John Robinson Walker. He gets $3 million from a Chinese-based company and proceeds to wire it out to a bunch of people named Biden, one of whom is Hunter Biden. Another one is a company that belongs to the president's brother, James Biden, and another amount of money to Beau Biden's widow, Hallie. So, again, from a layperson, that doesn't look good.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing here is CNN asking members of the Senate about the Biden scandal. So the first clip is Dick Durbin, who's in charge of the judiciary in the Senate, being asked about Hunter Biden and his payments. What this means is that you're seeing the singularity. So the corporate press is being so pressured by the news cycle to report on this, they're finally collapsing. They are removing their lips that had been surgically attached to the rears of the DNC and finally using those lips to ask questions about the Bidens. And what did we find out just yesterday? That there have been multiple payments to the Biden family from the communist Chinese that was laundered to Biden family members that had nothing to do with this business. They are in panic mode. Hunter Biden's lawyers quitting. Merrick Garland saying he will allow the charges to be brought against Hunter Biden and the Biden family. Joe Biden lying at the White House yesterday, let's get that clip, that he didn't know about Hunter Biden's business, that he didn't know about the $1 million. They're lying. They're trapped like rats. And so this is a desperation move. This is a desperation move, and Donald Trump straight up predicted it, ladies and gentlemen. He said what was going to happen.
And 2024 is the final battle. That's it. If you put me back in the White House, the reign of the corrupt Washington establishment will be over.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2024 is the final battle. Donald Trump is aware what they are planning on doing. They are planning on bringing false, completely and totally politically weaponized charges against him. And we know that they're politically weaponized because check this out from our executive producer, ALX. Alvin Bragg, this same guy who's bringing the charges against Donald Trump, tweeting here from presumably, I don't know, ALX, where's this tweet from? This is from a couple years ago. Trump lied through the night. Couldn't bring himself to defend white supremacy. Stand down and stand by. He embraces hate. He embodies hate. He hit new lows every day. Democracy lost tonight. This is Alvin Bragg. This is the same guy. This is this anti-Trump raving lunatic tweeting this hate, his hate for Donald Trump. Screaming about Donald Trump embodying hate, embracing hate. This is the same guy. This is the guy that is claiming to be an independent juror. This is from the 2020 debates. An independent juror inside of the justice system, ladies and gentlemen. And no one is believing this. Elon Musk, again, saying Trump will win inside of a landslide victory if they go forward with these charges. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get Joe Biden. Here's Joe Biden from last night when he's asked about the corporate media reporting and House investigation into his family that has produced actual bank records from the Bank of America. Joe Biden is sitting there on the White House lawn, slack-jawed, applesauce for brains, going, "It's not real. It's not happening." Yeah, but they're indicting Trump. Watch this man lie.
Any reaction to House GOP's memo about your family dealings, sir? Any reaction to House GOP's new memo about your family dealings, sir?
Family dealings.
Yes, you're revealing that Hunter Biden's business associate sent over $1 million to 3 of your family members. Any reaction to that report?
Not true.
Do you have any reaction to the Russian jet that took down the U.S. drone, Mr. President?
Oh, no, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is some breaking news right here. Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying that the Biden DOJ is coordinating with the Manhattan DA to prosecute Trump. Calls for Congress to investigate. Marjorie Taylor Greene posted on Saturday the Biden Justice Department is coordinating with the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, the Soros guy, to prosecute Donald Trump. Greene called for a congressional investigation as Donald Trump said that he expects to be arrested on Tuesday. Bragg's campaign for DA in 2021 was funded by George Soros. Ladies and gentlemen, we must bring the Biden DOJ officials who have been coordinating with the Manhattan DA to testify and subpoena all of it. We must end political weaponization of power in government. So this is a huge deal here, ladies and gentlemen. If it is found that Joe Biden and his Department of Justice have been coordinating in order to knock a political candidate that stands to run against Joe Biden and soundly defeat Joe Biden from the race, well, that is the largest political scandal in American history. You've never seen anything like it. This makes Hillary Clinton, this makes Barack Obama, this makes LBJ, this makes FDR, this makes Woodrow Wilson, all of them look like small-time white-collar criminals. This is the worst. If this is found to be true, what Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying here, and we love Marjorie and she's never lied to us, Marjorie Taylor Greene saying Biden's DOJ is coordinating. Let's look at the original tweet here. Biden's DOJ is coordinating with Democrats to arrest Donald Trump, the top Republican candidate for 2024, verifiable by every poll, and charge him with a fake, outdated misdemeanor charge, a Class C misdemeanor. This is what Marjorie is saying here, and ladies and gentlemen, she's being backed up by Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy is saying, I'm going to direct relevant committees to immediately investigate if federal funds are being used. Wow. So what essentially they're trying to set up here is that the DOJ decided not to charge Donald Trump for this. And so what they did was they outsourced it to the district attorney in New York. Three things will happen, ladies and gentlemen. Three things will happen. And let's go ahead and read what Matt Gaetz is saying here. Virtually every campaign finance violation involves either 1, spending other people's money, or 2, taking money into your campaign that you should not. Trump did neither. He used his own money to resolve a private dispute, irrespective of any campaign. The impending indictment is based on untested, tortured legal theory. It is an absurd abuse of criminal process in our politics. It must be seen for the partisan, pathetic ploy that it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Clinton paid Paula Jones to go away. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that. I don't remember the FBI raiding his lawyer's office. Yeah. Well, also, you may recall, and this is absolute verified history, that John Kerry committed multiple campaign finance violations in his 2004 run against George W. Bush. If Bush Cheney had put John Kerry in jail, what would that have looked like? What would the left have done? They would have lit the country on fire. Matt Gaetz, of course, correct here that this is a political witch hunt. And these are the things that will happen. Three things will happen. 1, you will all but guarantee that Donald Trump is reelected in a landslide, as Elon Musk says here. Okay? They're going to try and they have elevated a Class C misdemeanor charge that the feds won't even prosecute to a felony in order to get Donald Trump into handcuffs, in order to arrest him. Now, that doesn't mean Donald Trump goes to jail. That just means he gets brought into court and brought before a judge and is read what the indictment might be against him. And then Donald Trump gets released. He walks out. But they get that photo of Donald Trump being brought in to the police station. That's what they want. They want the image. They want to Mirandize him. ALX, get that clip of that witch. Can you get that clip of the witch who is screaming about her fever dream of Mirandizing Donald Trump? Get that clip. I want to show you guys exactly the depravity, the satanic, demonic nature of these people is on display in the clip of a jury four person talking about her satanic fever dream of Mirandizing Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the three things that will happen. 1, you will galvanize Trump's base beyond anything that's ever been galvanized before. As Elon Musk says, it will lead to a landslide victory. 2, you will straight up prove that we do not live inside of a real country. We live inside of a rigged banana republic. We live inside of a country that does not take you, the people, we the people, as it is written in our founding documents, seriously. You aren't allowed to have a say in this process. The system will decide who gets to even run for president, and they will persecute, prosecute, and destroy anyone who stands in their way. That is how it works inside of African banana republics. That is how it works inside of Saddam Hussein's Iraq or inside of communist South American countries. It will prove once and for all that the entire system is a fraud. And then finally, 3, it will bankrupt all blue states. Blue states will be done forever. Who would ever set up a business inside of a blue state? Who would ever remain inside of a blue state? Because if they can do it to Donald Trump, if they can do it to a former president, and this is the first time ever in American history that a former president has been indicted for anything, or a sitting president, a sitting or former, has been indicted for anything. If they can do it to Donald Trump, they can do it to you. Now, this is being done at a state level, not a federal level. As we've said, the feds refused to prosecute this. The feds laughed at this and threw it in the trash. This is going to the psychotic, bloodshot-eyed lunatics, raving, drooling, mouth-breathing, broken mutants of the George Soros district attorneys who have turned Manhattan and New York into a slaughterhouse for the residents there in New York, have released murderers, rapists back onto the street inside of that sanctuary city, but they're going after Donald Trump. They're in fact elevating traffic tickets essentially to prison, to attempted prison time. Who would ever live inside of a blue state ever again? I am so thankful to be living inside of the state of Florida. I am so thankful. This guy, Alvin Bragg, tweeting that Donald Trump embraces hate, embodies hate. New lows every day, democracy is lost tonight. This is the guy This is the guy, ladies and gentlemen. And on the other side, you have Georgia. In Georgia, you have a literal witch, somebody who is actually, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm loquacious in the way that I talk. I like using colorful language. I try my best to be accurate. But I'm telling you, they're using a witch in Florida. A witch! We found her Pinterest page. She's a witch! They're using her in the state of Georgia to go after Donald Trump. So this Harry Potter millennial, who's a real literal witch, okay? What you gotta throw her in the water, see if she floats, or whatever the Monty Python thing is. Stick a little radish nose on her. This lady is sitting here hyperventilating, talking about how she's the one who's going to take down Donald Trump. This is the absolute mental state of the left right now. Watch.
Personally want to hear from the former president. I wanted to hear from the former president, but honestly, I kind of wanted to subpoena the former president because I got to swear everybody in. And so I thought it'd be really cool to get 60 seconds with President Trump of me looking at him and being like, do you solemnly swear? And me getting to swear him in. I kind of just thought that would be an awesome moment.
Okay, listen, man, anyone who does exorcisms will tell you, like, when you have your eyes, like, dilate and have your eyes, like pointing in irrational and non-sympathetic movements, like non-binary movements, like all around your, like, you're seeing, like, I mean, you're seeing, like, demon possession, essentially, when you're watching people, like, behave like that. And that is exactly, according to the Daily Mail, what they say. The Daily Mail saying here, revealed Georgia jury foreperson who said it would have been awesome to subpoena Trump is a witch who shares spells and magic. Emily Kors is her name. And she was doing TV hits where she giggled and said she kind of wanted to subpoena Donald Trump. Get a chance to swear him in. This is the face, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready? Conservatives, Republicans, are you ready for that face to look at you across the courtroom and determine which government re-education facility you go to? That's the person who will be in charge of your justice inside of a blue state or inside of a blue county in Georgia. There she is with her Harry Potter hat. Harry Potter confirmed. And here she is practicing. Here's a image from her. There you go. There's a pentagram. That's a satanic symbol. This is from her Instagram. In case you're wondering why I use a Bible verse every single day on my show and why I say that we are fighting not flesh and blood here, but we are in a spiritual battle. Well, this is why I say we're in a spiritual battle. Witchcraft and knowledge. Yay! This is from these people's pages. Now, lucky for us, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. These kind of eye movements. Lucky for us, ladies and gentlemen, we have God on our side. So we don't have to be worried about these people or these dark forces. But that is why I say that there are dark forces in this nation, and we must be wary of them. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody who just had dinner with Donald Trump a few days ago and who can tell us about his state currently, emotionally or mentally, who can tell us about how he was at dinner and whether they talked about these potential charges, which I know that they did. The executive producer of this show, who's been on this story, the great ALX, the Lord, joins the program. Well, technically a Twitter update, kind of. Elon Musk has certainly inserted himself into this story. ALX, I have 2 or 3 questions for you, but I need to start off with you going to dinner with Donald Trump. Let's get that photo. Let's show that photo. Royce, if you can pop that up. ALX had dinner with Donald Trump less than a month ago. A private dinner. It was essentially him sitting right next to Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and I'm sure they discussed this style of a situation and what they are doing in the witch hunt, literal witch hunt, against Donald. What was the president's demeanor like? How did he behave? Did you talk about these charges, ALX?
Yes. The main focus of the conversation about any potential charges was actually about the Georgia race, because that was the breaking news that day. That they were considering charges that was coming out that day. But Stormy Daniels did come up. He didn't seem worried about either one of them. Like everybody is saying that it's very politically motivated. And I don't believe, and he doesn't believe, that these charges will actually stick, and that experts are saying that it's a long shot. Like you mentioned, the federal government wouldn't touch this, and it's just these corrupt state AGs that are trying to campaign on the fact that we're gonna take on Trump. It's essentially was a campaign promise of Alvin Bragg to go after Donald Trump. But yeah, his demeanor was very calm. He said, actually, we're at Mar-a-Lago where they raided me. And you saw what happened to the numbers when they raided me here at my home. Can you imagine what an indictment would do? And me and everyone else at the table agreed. We saw the tremendous support that came behind Donald Trump after the Mar-a-Lago raid from everyone. And now I'm actually already seeing it before the indictment even happens. And even people that have been vocal supporters of, Ron DeSantis running, I've been seeing them as well saying, this is uncharted territory, and, coming and rallying behind Trump. So I think this is going to be, even bigger than the Mar-a-Lago raid, and we're going to see tremendous support.
So when you were with Donald Trump, did he seem nervous about any of this?
Not at all. Not at all. He was very relaxed, very calm about all of it. He was almost joking about it the entire time too. His sense of humor. And yes, he did call her horseface at the table. It was pretty funny. He's like, I did not touch horseface. All of this is made up. And like I said, he was more focused on the Georgia hoax because that was the hot news of the day. But yes, this did come up, and he doesn't think either of them will stick, and he thinks it's going to help his support. And I tend to agree with that.
So to the point that ALX just made, I just saw this tweet, just tweeted a second ago, Vivek Ramaswamy, who is running against Donald Trump, right, in this race. So Vivek has announced that he is running against Donald Trump in the bid for the Republican presidential nomination. Vivek is coming out in favor and defending Trump quite vociferously. A Trump indictment would mean a national disaster. It's un-American for the ruling party to use police power to arrest political rivals. If a Republican prosecutor in 2014 had used campaign finance technicality against John Kerry while Bush Cheney were in power, liberals would have cried foul, and rightly so. They would have cried foul. They would have burnt the country to the ashes. Principles go beyond partisanship. Let the American people decide who governs. This will mark a dark moment in American history and will undermine the public trust of the electoral system itself. I call on the Manhattan District Attorney to reconsider the action. Partisan politics service preserving our constitutional republic. So ALX just said that he's seeing people from all walks, even people who are in other camps, come out to defend Trump here. And here's a perfect example. A man who could be on a debate stage arguing with Donald Trump saying this is horrendous.
Yeah, and like I said, even people who have been, hard on DeSantis must run, and Trump's time is over supporters, I've been seeing that all over, that they're coming out and saying this is third world. This is going to only add to his support. Even Elon Musk, who had mentioned in the past that, he would like to vote for DeSantis for president. We've already mentioned that he's said this is going to be a landslide. And, I think this is, going to be the truth. And the entire thing about this case, too, is that it's all predicated on Michael Cohen. And what do we know about Michael Cohen? He is not very trustworthy. And he's already, went to jail over stuff. And he wants payback against Trump as well. So I don't think a lot of people think he has much credibility. So I think that's going to play a role, too, in this case.
Okay, so Mar-a-Lago, you were just there. Breaking news right now. Trump attorney says there won't be a standoff at Mar-a-Lago. ALX, is it easy to go arrest Trump? Are they gonna send in Are they going to send Alvin Bragg? Going to come wobbling in and arrest Trump at Mar-a-Lago? How is this going to go down if it goes down?
So I did hear that it would be in coordination with the Secret Service so that there isn't a standoff and that they would get the final say on the entire optics behind it and like who had access and who comes in or whatever. I think it will end up being, the Secret Service themselves, like transporting him or whatever, because obviously he has 24/7 protection. But as far as getting into Mar-a-Lago, from my perspective, I took an Uber there. They stopped the Uber at the gate. The Uber just, I don't think they knew what they were driving into. So they were kind of, at fuller speed. And then, Secret Service with a massive gun, like kind of stopped in front of them. And they're like, I need the guest's ID. They got my ID. And then, they escorted me to the building after being dropped off at the gate by the Uber. So you don't get in, you can't just walk into there. But yeah, there would be sort of like, a standoff between, I don't know if it would be local law enforcement or who would be coming to take him into custody or whatever, because I know, that's New York that's trying to prosecute him, but he's going to be in Florida. So I'm not sure how that would work, but like I said, it's going to be in coordination with the Secret Service. So I don't think that it's going to be, a standoff type situation, but we all know what the optics will look like. And he's already said he won't resist or anything because it's going to look better on Trump's part if he's like, this is what they're doing to me, man. And he's just accepting it. And the optics, this is the thing. They think the optics of Trump being in handcuffs will help them, but in reality, it's just going to help us because it's going to feed into the narrative that they won't stop at anything to get him locked up, to, prevent him from running again, to prevent him from being president again. That's exactly what this is going to feed into, and it's 100% spot on.
Yeah. So, talk me through, as you are the Elon whisperer, talk me through this tweet here from Elon. Now, you noted that Elon Musk is not some red hat wearing MAGA, right? He said so. I'm not MAGA. And here's Elon Musk predicting a landslide victory for Donald Trump, a full re-election for Donald Trump. Break this down for me, ALX.
Yeah, so I think this goes into the same vein as what I was just saying about how the establishment, Democrats, and, even our intelligence agencies are all kind of weaponized against Trump, because this all started too with releasing the Twitter files. And like he said from the beginning, I didn't vote for Trump. I voted for Biden. I am not a Trump guy. But this is what was happening inside of Twitter. This is what was happening in coordination with the FBI and Democrats and members of Congress and the opposing campaign. They are colluding to try and, prevent him from winning. So it's happening at the Twitter level, and now it's happening at a law enforcement level. So they're going to try and take out Trump. And, basically it's not his opinion that they're weaponizing these things against him. It's fact, and that's why he's stating it. He's stating that it's going to be a landslide victory because everything that Trump is saying is, being proven true, and that started with Twitter. And as the owner of Twitter, and now he's seeing all the behind-the-scenes stuff and releasing the Twitter files and everything, he's seeing this play out in the real world now. That they're trying to bring charges against him and lock him up. So that's where I think that comes from.
ALX, and everyone needs to go follow ALX on Twitter and on Instagram. You can find him at ALX. Ladies and gentlemen, no one is better. No one is better and quicker with breaking news. ALX has been, of course, covering Donald Trump since the earliest days of Donald Trump's 2015 presidential campaign, where you were at one of the earliest announcements and one of the first campaign stops. ALX has been, of course, the reason you is my executive producer is he's just the best with breaking news. So he's covered the TikTok of all of the charges ever brought against Donald Trump. And perhaps you could tell me if I'm wrong here, but every single time that they come after the man, it gets proved to be a farce, and then it strengthens him with his base. Am I incorrect there?
No, you're absolutely correct. So, Russian collusion and, 2 impeachments, all of this stuff they thought would take him out, and it ends up making him look better. Russian collusion, these people still will, Oh, the Mueller report. Yeah, it was actual dud. They determined that a couple Russian people spent like a couple grand in Facebook ads, and that was their proof of Russian collusion. It's like any American could do that, and if that was the case that they threw the election, like any American could claim credit for throwing the election. None of these had actual substance. They just wanted a show trial. They wanted the Mueller thing to be a trial, and then impeachments to be a trial, and play out in the court of public opinion. But like I said, it just looks like Democrats going after him to go after him with no teeth. So yeah.
I mean, it does absolutely look completely and totally political. Eric Trump just posted this on Truth Social. Eric Trump reposting a former New York City police officer, John Cardillo, who's now a Florida resident and a political commentator. He says, New York City law enforcement sources telling me that Manhattan DA's office is in chaos. 60% of the office will have no part in this, and wishes Bragg would stop the nonsense. They know there is no crime. Apparently, it's all being driven by a small group of radicals at the top, very similar to Russiagate. Along with this, we have a corresponding article here. Manhattan DA pursuing felony charges against Trump has history of reducing charges against other. Since taking office, DA Bragg has downgraded 52% of all cases brought before his office. Downgrading means they're not going to be charging these individuals, or they're going to be reducing drastically what they've been charged with. Less than 40% of the cases were comprised of similar downgrades. The pugnacious prosecutor has made headlines for refusing to seek prison time against the most violent offenders at a time when New York City has seen violent crime spike by 30%. So it seems like this is going to be a made for TV, made for virality, use of force and use of political power against Donald Trump, throwing not just the book at him, throwing the entire building that the book is housed inside at Donald Trump, inflating Trump's charges, all while the entire New York City law enforcement team is in complete and total chaos.
Yeah, and I think it is very similar to Russiagate too, because, you know, there are good people at the FBI and at all these law enforcement agencies. It's just these politicized people at the top, whether it be, you know, in this case, Alvin Bragg, or, you know, in the FBI, Ray and Peter Strzok, and all of these people that are activists at the top and abusing their power without actually paying attention to the actual crimes, or in this case, non-crimes being committed, and then not focusing on what's important. And in this case, being New York, crime-ridden, we've had, you know, people get out on bail after like 24 hours after, you know, assaulting someone, and they're focusing on Donald Trump. What happened to the tough on crime mayor that they were supposedly elected, and they're going after, you know, Donald Trump for this political show. I'm not sure, you know, why anyone in NYPD would support this. So I'm not surprised by that.
Do you think there's going to be a revolt in the NYPD? They're already losing officers like crazy.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of them will stand to this. We'll see if there's any publicly, you know, displayed, you know, opposition to it. But I know a lot of them would probably lose their jobs or something if they spoke politically on something. But John Cardillo probably has better sources inside of NYPD than I do, being a former officer. But
that's right.
Yeah, I trust that that's accurate.
So ALX, we've been covering pretty much every single day some form of Biden family corruption. Of course, we're starting to see the dam break on that, and James Comer says that there are now 10 to 11 more bank transactions from foreign nations that are nearly at war with America, a fifth generational war for sure with America, that the Bidens accepted money from. Is this all a distraction technique to take your attention away from a collapsing banking system, a collapsing dollar, the collapsing border, and the collapsing Biden regime?
Yeah, this is where I think the coordination that, you know, MTG and what Speaker McCarthy might be investigating to see if, you know, they were sitting on this for a while for an opportune time for, you know, Comer coming out with the letter just this week, and then a couple days later this news drops. I think that's too close to be a coincidence. So I think that, you know, they might have sat on this for a while and waited for more bad news about the Biden crime family to come out. And I keep seeing, we touched on this yesterday in the show, that their defense is, this isn't criminal. But, you know, selling the office of the presidency and vice presidency for access is certainly corrupt. And people keep using excuses. Oh, foreigners stayed at Trump Hotel. He didn't initiate the hotel business after he held public office. He had all of these businesses before he went into office. So any of these business deals and stuff, you know, it came off of him being a businessman, not the crackhead son of the former vice president or then vice president has access to him. So we're going to give thousands of dollars in Chinese money to him and his brother's former widow, now girlfriend or whatever they were at the time. That's where the questions have to be asked, is what were they being paid for? And as soon as that comes up, this news about Trump comes out. So I don't think that's a coincidence. And I think, you know, I hope Kevin McCarthy finds something, and I'm glad that they're catching that as well.
Yeah, a newly released video here by Marjorie Taylor Greene sort of sums up where Congress is as it pertains to Biden corruption. Let's have a watch.
Never discussed with my son or my brother or anyone else anything having to do with their businesses.
President Biden met with at least 14 of Hunter's business associates while he was vice president.
Then Vice President Joe Biden had dinner with his son Hunter, along with Hunter's business associates from Ukraine, Russia, and Kazakhstan. And the day after the dinner, a Burisma executive sent a note to Hunter, quoting, "Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to D.C. and giving an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together."
Hunter's lucrative business dealings often included giving as much as 50% of his earnings to his dad.
The text read, quote, "I hope you all can do what I did and pay for everything for this entire family for 30 years. It's really hard, but don't worry. Unlike Pop, I won't make you give me half your salary."
His son, Hunter, joining the then vice president on the official visit to Beijing. Unknown to the press back then, Hunter Biden was forming a Chinese private equity fund, planning to raise money, including from Chinese investors. 10 days after the Biden's trip, Shanghai authorities issued the fund's business license.
And Hunter introduced me as, this is Tony, Dad, the individual I told you about that's helping us with the business that we're working on and the Chinese.
So, ALX, we're covering every single day. You're seeing multiple members of the Biden crime family now cooperating with Republicans in the House. That's the video that was just recently released by the House Republicans, Marjorie Taylor Greene specifically. Do you think that this is a panic move by Joe Biden? And do you believe that Joe Biden is coordinating with the Manhattan DA, meaning Joe Biden's Justice Department, using federal resources to attempt to essentially knock out the person who stands the most likely to defeat this regime? Is this a politically motivated? Is this a politically motivated banana republic takedown attempt, right, before an election?
Definitely, yeah. And these like recent developments with Eric Schwerin and Rob Walker. So Rob Walker being subpoenaed, and then Eric Schwerin now cooperating. These two key people. We had like that leaked voicemail come out with Tony Bobulinski and Rob Walker talking, saying, "Oh, you're going to bury all of us if you go and tell the truth." And then the voicemail with Hunter complaining about Joe Biden passing on all of his phone calls with the press to Eric Schwerin, and complaining that all of these secrets that implicate him and his father in a crime are coming out. I think now that these people are being issued subpoenas or cooperating, that we're finally going to find some truth in that. And this is them lashing out in panic mode because they know the jig is up, and all of the key people that are, were surrounding Hunter and these business deals are now in the hands of the Oversight Committee. And hopefully we'll all see before, hopefully Hunter before Congress. But, all of these people are going to be providing evidence. And that's what we've needed. There's been a lot of allegations and a lot of, these are all corrupt people. But what we need is hard evidence. And we're finally starting to see with the bank transactions that were just released. So hopefully we'll get more of that.
You're beginning to see the hard evidence. Donald Trump, again, calling this a fairy tale. Speaker Kevin McCarthy backing him up, along with a number of members of Congress, saying that this is political vengeance against President Trump. He's directing relevant committees to investigate if federal funds were being used. Donald Trump's team now, some breaking news from seconds ago, potentially walking back that Donald Trump will be arrested. Let's watch ALX Live.
The Trump campaign now walking back a Truth Social post from the former president saying that he will be arrested on Tuesday. A Trump spokesperson is now saying there has been no notification of forthcoming charges beyond what they are calling, quote, illegal leaks to the media. The Manhattan DA has declined to comment. Welcome to Fox News Live. I'm Alicia Acuna. Hi, Brian.
Okay, so is this Don? So again, ladies and gentlemen, ALX, the intrepid, legendary executive producer for our show, The Benny Show, and the best with breaking news. Also, a dinner guest of Donald Trump a couple of days ago. ALX, is Donald Trump trying to get ahead of the news cycle here by trying to essentially like give people the notification that this may happen? What's going on here? So his campaign's now walking this back. This was broadcast on Fox literally seconds ago, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news.
Yeah, I think that's pretty funny that he would announce it and then walk it back. I like that, getting ahead of the news, because it provides the expectations without there being a promise of an actual arrest, because now everyone's expecting it. It's not going to have the same shock and awe value that CNN probably wanted, with the cameras live outside and breaking news outside on like everyone's TVs. And that's how they're finding out about it. They're finding out about it from Trump himself. But now I think they'll key in on the illegal leaks part of it. Basically, how did the media find this out? Who inside of the district attorney's of New York's office is, talking to the media about a potential indictment? I want to know how that's getting out, and I like that they're keying in on that.
Okay, so Donald Trump maybe doing what he often does, is getting ahead of the news cycle. The time that Donald Trump did this effectively was when he said that the FBI had raided his home, right? Like, nobody expected that to go that way. Donald Trump set the terms of the debate. Now, the FBI and the DOJ like screamed, it's not a raid, it's not a raid, it's a this, it's a that. But Donald Trump essentially effectively set in stone that the FBI raided him, and that's the narrative that stuck, right? That there was an FBI raid. They didn't want that, and they went screaming to the hills, but Donald Trump got ahead of it. Is that what Donald Trump is trying to do here?
I think it is, and he's setting the narrative. Like I said, they're not going to find out on CNN like the Roger Stone arrest, where you wake up one morning and you're seeing on your TV for the first time Donald Trump being perp walked or something like that. He's getting ahead of the news by setting the narrative and saying, look, guys, they're going to try and come after me. And now by walking it back, he's, like I said, going to focus on the fact that these activists inside of the New York DA's office are now coordinating with the press, because they're the ones trying to get ahead of the story, saying we're setting the narrative. They want this to be a scare tactic and say, oh, Donald Trump is about to be indicted and all of this bull crap. So he's getting ahead of the news by saying, look, guys, this may or may not happen, and they're going to try and come after me. So I like that he's doing this.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a piece of breaking news here. Thank you, Rolls-Royce, our intrepid director of photography and producer of this show. Brand new breaking news from Fox News that maybe Trump is getting ahead of this news cycle by announcing that he will be arrested before anyone was ready to defend that. Right? Before anyone was planting the idea that he would be arrested and that's a possibility, before the DA or people had that in, the motions had been made for that to happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is breaking news, literally just broadcast seconds ago, the update to the story. We're watching it live with you for the first time. And before we play the clip, a huge shout out to our Rumble audience. We love you. I'm going to hop in the comment section here as we watch this together. Ladies and gentlemen, we love Rumble, and we thank you for following along on Rumble. We're getting record viewership there this morning. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Brand new breaking news. The update about Donald Trump perhaps getting ahead of the news cycle here, as he is known to do.
Stormy Daniels after their alleged affair. Nate Foy is live in New York with the latest on this. Nate?
Well, hey, Brian. Yeah, Fox News reached out, but the Manhattan DA's office is declining to comment on this morning. But former President Trump is already reacting to his expected arrest on Tuesday, posting this on Truth Social. Take a look. It reads in part, quote, with no crime being able to be proven and based on an old and fully debunked by numerous other prosecutors fairy tale, the far and away leading Republican candidate and former president of the United States of America will be arrested on Tuesday of next week. Protest. Take our nation back. Now, this case centers around a $130,000 hush money payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels on the eve of the 2016 presidential election. President Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, pleaded guilty to his role in that payment in a 2018 case. He claims it was meant to keep Daniels quiet about an alleged affair that Trump denies. Federal prosecutors have claimed the former president and his business reimbursed Cohen for that payment. Now, of course, Trump is a front runner in the Republican primary, and he claims this is yet another politically motivated attack to prevent him from running in 2024. But this morning, his call for protests that you just saw from his supporters have summoned Congress upset. Here's Congresswoman Maxine Waters of California.
He was trying to organize the domestic terrorists to protest his arrest.
Right.
Yeah, and I think we have to be careful about him making that announcement. He's doing it for a reason.
Now, Brian, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy tweeted in the past hour, you see it right here, quote, here we go again. An outrageous abuse of power by a radical DA who lets violent criminals walk as he pursues political vengeance against President Trump. I'm directing relevant committees to immediately investigate if federal funds are being used to subvert our democracy. Here's President Trump himself claiming this is all an effort to take him out of the 2024 race.
Presidential elections are sacred. We cannot let them be stolen. We can't let any elections be stolen. The only candidate they don't want to run against is Trump, me, despite their disinformation campaign to the contrary.
So here's what we know, Brian. Trump is expected to be charged with falsifying business records for reimbursing Cohen under the guise of legal expenses. But to make that crime a felony, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg's prosecutors will have to prove that Trump did that to conceal another crime, which in this case may be an improper donation to his 2016 campaign in violation of state election law. Now, right now, there is no evidence that the Manhattan DA's office has reached out to Trump's team directly. A spokesperson for President Trump says they learned about it through leaks to the fake news media. We do know the Manhattan DA's office has reached out to law enforcement in New York to plan for security at the courthouse surrounding a potential indictment this week. We'll send it back to you, Brian.
Yeah, Nate, and the first presidential campaign rally for former President Trump is in Waco, Texas on Saturday next week. So
ALX, that's going to be, we cover all Trump rallies live. That's going to be a absolute barn burner, I'm supposing.
Yes. We'll see what happens this week if there's an actual indictment, but either way, it will be a massive barn burner. And I think it's pretty funny how, of all people speaking out against Trump's call to protest, we have Maxine Waters on there looking like a half alive puppet there, just saying, oh, the domestic terrorists are coming out after her famous clip about telling people to go terrorize elected officials in public. And you have like the New York Times freaking out over the calls for protests. Since when are Democrats against protests? They're going to be saying, oh, this is January 6th all over again, which isn't the case. Nobody called for any violence. Nobody called for any of that. He just called for a protest of a weaponization of the justice system against a former president. So I think it's, really rich that Maxine Waters is on cable news complaining about it.
This is some really, really shocking breaking news here. Donald Trump has just posted. We're getting a video that Donald Trump just posted seconds ago. We're getting that loaded right now. He posted on Truth Social. But I'm pretty amazed that the corporate press, now this is the first time I'm seeing the corporate press come out saying, whoa, wait a second. This is really bad and may horrendously backfire. You have Josh Dawsey from the Washington Post. Let me get this up for all of you ladies and gentlemen. Again, we are, as ever, 100% live here and bringing you the breaking news. Here it is. J.D. Vance responding to Josh Dawsey. Now let's start with Josh Dawsey here, who is a corporate media reporter for the Washington Post. The prosecutor, the ex-president, and the zombie case that was viewed skeptically by many in law enforcement, including Alvin Bragg's team, suddenly has come back to life. And then there's a link to the Washington Post. Of course, I won't give them the click. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a corporate media reporter who is a Trump-hating, raving, frothing-at-the-mouth lunatic saying, what is going on here? This is going to help Trump effectively, right? So this is why Josh would be tweeting this. He is, again, a reporter for the Washington Post. He's a White House reporter for the Washington Post, saying, what are they doing? This is looking like desperation. And people in law enforcement are saying that this is wrong. Now, this is what J.D. Vance, who is a wonderful senator from Ohio, is saying in response to that. Alvin Bragg is bought by George Soros. He allows violent criminals to walk in the streets of New York City. He will prosecute the likely Republican nominee and former president on a baseless misdemeanor charge. These people are trying to turn America into the third world. J.D. Vance, of course, correct in that, and a very, very strong fighter. ALX, this seems like it may be laying the groundwork for banning. I mean, George Soros' name is being used a lot. Every single tweet, whether it's from Chip Roy, Kevin McCarthy, Marjorie Taylor Greene, J.D. Vance, is talking about George Soros and his foreign money to affect American elections and American law enforcement. Now, I live inside of a city that had a George Soros prosecutor literally stripped from power because he was refusing to follow state law. This is happening all around the country. Are we going to see legislation to perhaps ban foreign dollars? I mean, this should be this should be like no debate at all on the House floor. Like, ban foreign money in our elections. Foreign billionaires should not be able to influence American elections. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're completely right. And I think it's funny for two reasons. One, that they're going after Trump for potential campaign finance violations, but yet they're ignoring the fact that the guy who's going after him, was installed by a foreigner who's giving billions. And, this isn't the first prosecutor or DA or AG that he's, got installed across the country. And then, the other reason is the fact that they tried to impeach him over Russian collusion for basically the same thing, a foreign entity buying Facebook ads or Russian bots to influence the election that way. So how is this any different from what they've been complaining about for the past 8 years? We have a foreign billionaire trying to buy up our elections and, get Democrats that are pro-crime installed across the country and these activist DAs. So they're the ones who've been rallying against foreign interference in our elections. So I think they should, agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I just, again, they're arguing that Donald Trump, misused cash. I mean, how much Chinese communist cash helped Joe Biden win the election? Mm-hmm. We now have the bank receipts for that. And then they're arguing about influencing elections when George Soros comes in and influences all of our elections and law enforcement. How is he allowed to do that? Republicans, grow some backbones. Let's go. Ban foreign billionaires from spending any money. Make it a crime. Make it a crime.
Yes.
The only way that this is inverted, the only way that this ever stops is if you start punishing the people who are doing it. That is the only lesson that the communist understands. If they hurt, if they get the same amount of pressure back on them, if they start being indicted, if they start being prosecuted, if Joe Biden's family starts going to jail, that is the only way they will learn. They are like dogs. They must be taught hard lessons. You have to rub their noses in it. And so prosecute George Soros. Make this illegal, and then every time if George Soros spends a single dollar, then put him on a arrest warrant list. And I know that he has multiple houses in this country. Go after and start seizing his properties. Mm-hmm. I mean, this should not be legal. This is we are a very stupid nation to allow this to happen, to allow these foreign billionaires to come in and to wreck our country.
Yeah,
this stuff is wrong. Donald Trump has just posted this on Truth Social. If you are if you are doing poorly, as so many of you are, do not spend anything if you are doing well. It is made possible by the Trump administration. Send a contribution. This is Donald Trump's newest campaign video, just released. It's a short one. Let's see what he has to say.
A man is how much he will bear for a cause which he knows to be right. How long will he stand in the depths of despair? How much will he suffer and fight? There are many to serve when the victory is near, and few are the hurts to be borne. But it calls for a leader of courage to cheer the men in a battle forlorn. It is the way you hold out against odds that are great that proves what your courage is worth. It is the way that you stand to the bruises of fate that shows up your stature and girth. And victory is nothing but proof of your skill, veneered with a glory that's thin. Unless it is a proof of unfaltering will, and unless you have suffered to win.
I believe that Donald Trump is setting his campaign up to make this a huge, massive victory. And ALX, as per breaking news, the Manhattan DA has been silent on this. In fact, we have inside knowledge that the Manhattan DA is facing massive revolt from the NYPD and the attorneys there inside of New York. This is, of course, a revolt that is being driven by people saying, "You will destroy our city. No one will ever want to live here again." Why would any person ever want to live in New York again? Democrat, Republican, everyone runs afoul of the people in power at some point. If they can do it to Trump, they'll do it to you. Why the hell would you ever live inside of a place that is such a banana republic with these brain-damaged mutants in charge? They can do it to Trump, they'll come after you and everything you love and everyone you love. Am I wrong?
You're 100% right. And yeah, I'd advise any, Republicans that have a business in these Democrat-run banana republics to get out, because, the first opportunity that they have to go after you, if you're a political enemy of the state, then they'll find anything, any sort of small crimes to go after you and shut you down or lock you up. We've seen this in the past, whether it be like with Steve Bannon, or in other cases as well, where they're just too loud against the regime that they're going to go in and find any sort of small crime or alleged crime and go in and try and get you locked up for these BS charges. So I would advise anyone to get out, and then also don't move there. Stay far away from these types of regimes.
So ALX, you live inside of a blue state. Is this going to cause you to move?
Who knows? It might. Right now, Massachusetts isn't that bad, but we'll see in the future how bad it gets here.
It is certainly moments like this that make me very, very happy to be living inside of a state with some semblance of law and order. Again, I had a district. There was a district attorney, Soros appointed district attorney, that was in Tampa, where I broadcast from, and where we broadcast our show from, where I am right now. That was removed, and Republicans need to start doing more of that. There needs to be an offensive footing here, because if you don't say stop, they won't stop. Dan Bongino making that point earlier today on Fox.
Gift of failure. Dan, I would imagine you've got something to say on this.
Yeah, listen, the police state's here, guys. That's inarguable to, the libs listening. You can, again, plan a big wet one on my rump, because I really have no desire to hear you right now as you're celebrating, again, the collapse of the constitutional republic. The police state's here. It's not as if Donald Trump's, sons were caught on tape talking to their dad about illicit business deals or anything with foreign communist parties and nuclear-powered enemies of the United States, shuttling millions of dollars to the Trump family. Oh, that's right. That's right. That's the Biden family. Oh, God, sorry, guys, I forgot. As a commentator, I should be really up on the news and stuff. But the police state and this abomination is here right now. This is third world BS. That's exactly what this is. because this is the kind of story you're used to reading out of North Korea, but it's here in the United States right now. And the fact that media people and the liberals will sell.
So, ALX, do you believe the police state is here?
Yes, I thought the police state was here when they raided Mar-a-Lago. I thought that was the turning point for myself. But now that they're going to try and indict and arrest, I think it's further evidence that it is, that they would have the audacity to do that to a former president and current presidential candidate.
ALX, any parting thoughts? Again, you are a Nostradamus for breaking news. What do you make of this, ladies and gentlemen, as we are now officially up to the breaking news of this moment, wherein the DA, Trump's campaign is now walking this back, that they don't know the exact date if Donald Trump will be arrested in New York, and the DA has refused to comment, and sources inside of the DA, former New York City police officers, are saying that office is in chaos right now. ALX, what is your prediction? Will they go through with this? Final question.
I think they will. I'm not sure it will be this week. I think they will end up indicting him. I don't know if he'll be handcuffed or not. I think it's up to the Secret Service. Honestly, I think it will look better for Trump if he is. So I don't know if that will actually happen. But I thought another thing to touch on as well as a final thing is he decided to come back to, well, he was reinstated to YouTube yesterday, but he decided to post on Facebook and YouTube yesterday, but not Twitter. It could be indicative of his, intent to return to all social media platforms right as this news is breaking and go full throttle on the campaign trail as a response to this. So I think we'll see that in the coming days and weeks if he isn't indicted this week. But like you said, I would definitely watch the rally next week to see his response, because it's going to be biblical, I think.
Yeah, I think it is going to be biblical. And ladies and gentlemen, let me say, if you want biblical, if you want to see the news, and if you want to see it delivered in what would be the right way? I mean, biblical fashion would be the right way, because it's being delivered with truth and verve and energy. Go follow ALX. Let's toss up ALX's social media here. You gotta follow, ladies and gentlemen. 380,000 sweet freedom-loving Americans follow ALX on Twitter. Let's get that number up to 400,000 this weekend. Go over and follow ALX. It will be the smartest decision you make today.
Thank you.
All right, ALX. Get out of those blue states.
Peace out.
Later, buddy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there is a final piece of important information that I wish to leave you with today. Get rid of these prosecutors. This is the problem. You must get rid of these people. You have to fire them. Republican governors, you can go through and fire these prosecutors. If they are not enforcing the law, which even the corporate media hacks are saying these guys aren't enforcing the law against Donald Trump. These are dead cases. Zombie cases, they're calling them. This is political persecution. This scum, this gremlin, goblin, DA, gremlin, goblin, was essentially removed from office by the governor. And so if you live inside of a red state, God help you if you live inside of a blue state. But if you live inside of a red state and you don't want this man, running your state, if you don't want this person, this foreign billionaire who hates America and hates you, if you don't want this guy running your law and order, if you don't want this guy determining if Donald Trump can run again in an election, this person, you must demand that your Republicans grow a set of balls and a spine and immediately remove Soros prosecutors. Then demand that your member of Congress that represents you bring immediately to the floor a bill banning foreign billionaires, foreign anyone, I don't care if you're a hundredaire, foreign money entirely from our federal election system. Ban it. Remove these people from our nation. from our politics. They are bringing hell on this country. And now they are trying to remove from you, the American people, the ability to vote for a candidate of your liking. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump says he will be arrested on Tuesday. This is what Donald Trump is saying in New York. Ladies and gentlemen, to summarize what they are doing, what this man is doing, this man is a appointed communist apparatchik from George Soros. He is in charge of New York's district attorney's office. His name is Alvin Bragg. He's a Trump-hating, bloodshot-eyed lunatic who's being potentially put political pressure on by Joe Biden and Joe Biden's Department of Justice to bring criminal charges against Donald Trump for a misdemeanor parking ticket, essentially. A private matter between his attorney and somebody named Stormy Daniels. They are trying to make that a federal issue. The feds dropped it, so now it falls to this guy to try and bring those charges and then to get a photo up of Donald Trump in handcuffs. Donald Trump said this was going to happen in a Truth Social post. Now, Donald Trump's campaign has walked that back, saying that they don't know if this is going to happen on Tuesday, if it will or will not happen. And this guy's office is apparently in chaos and in total panic and meltdown right now because of what Donald Trump is doing. If you do not wish to have George Soros run our nation and choose who can be president or who can stand for president, remember, it's too risky for them to even let Donald Trump run. They must try and get rid of Donald Trump's candidacy in the cradle. They must try and get rid of Donald Trump's ability to run for president before he even stands for a caucus or a primary. That is the goal here. That is what they're trying to do, ladies and gentlemen, and it is utterly and completely evil. You are witnessing, potentially, the end of our republic as we know it. We mustn't allow it. Remove the district attorneys. Remove foreign cash from our political system. And ladies and gentlemen, let's go save America together. That is what we do on our channels. Now, we are here on a Saturday, and so please, we work and grind on this channel. Subscribe. We do this show. We do not ask for anything. All we ask is that you subscribe and help grow our audience here. Subscribe to the show. Subscribe to our podcast, please. That really helps us out, The Benny Show, on all podcast platforms. We are here every single day, including the weekends when there is breaking news. I just got up and I said, honey, I got to go in. We've got to bring the news to the people. And hundreds of thousands of people watch this broadcast, and we brought you the breaking news as it happens. And we brought you all of the important information that you can be informed. That is our job here. And the best way for you to support us is to subscribe. Please. That is how you can tell us that we are doing a good job. That is how you can reward us and thank us for coming in and grinding. This isn't the first, and it won't be the last Saturday that we'll be here. You have my promise, ladies and gentlemen, my absolute promise that we will be there for you. We will deliver truth. We will deliver the news. We will deliver our own personal opinions on these things, and more importantly, our educated opinions on these things, because we know a bunch of people in the Trump world. We know Donald Trump. We know the people who will be running for president. We know you as the base, and more importantly, you are who we are allegiant to. You. You're the reason why we do this show. You are who we are loyal to. Not any party, not any pot of money somewhere, some corporate sponsorship. This is our show, you and me together. We are not owned by some corporation. There's no one pulling the strings behind me. There are no strings in this studio. We are it. So help us in our audience. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notifications. Let's go live together, and let's go save this country together. God bless you. Pray for Donald Trump. Pray for this nation. Ladies and gentlemen, God promises that a holy people and a people that look and seek him in darkness will find the light. So let us be encouraged by God's promise and remain encouraged. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall find the light in the darkness. Stay free. Stay based. It's your boy Benny. See ya.